Good.
Ladies and gentlemen, nerds and neckbeards, welcome to another episode. The
season finale episode. Finally, of
Westworld. Wheneverly.
Dave, we are on a hot streak.
We're on a streak. I don't know if it's a hot streak, but we're definitely on a streak.
What is the name of the last episode here in season 2 of Westworld?
It's called The Passenger.
The Passenger. Did you notice the scene where they talk about what the passenger is?
It's humans.
It's humans.
Humans are just the passenger.
They think they're in control.
That's right.
But they're just along for the ride, like a passenger.
That's right.
There's a good band called The Passenger.
Is there?
Yeah, they have very emo music. I like it a lot.
I'm kind of into emo. Not emo, but
punk. Do you have a
like
type of music that you love the most?
I'm like a pop punk, like Blink, Fall Out Boy, Paramore. Maybe even a little screamo, like Little Sense of Fail type of stuff.
Well, you haven't matured in your advanced age to something more age appropriate. No Michael Bublé for you.
No, I don't listen to the boobs. I mean, I love boobs. Don't get me wrong, but don't listen to that. I mean, I listen to various artists. Like, I think there are some good country songs. For some reason, Cruise with Nelly.
Yeah,
is like,
all right.
I'm down with that.
Is that considered country?
Is it more pop?
I mean,
T-Swizzies. There's some for pop songs that I'm like down with. Yeah, the T-Swizzles.
A Swizzy straw.
Yeah, I like a little rap too, but like funny rap more than like regular rap, like Lil Dicky.
All right.
Like he's got some good songs, like
Say
That Money.
Oh my God.
Freaky
You know what I think about sometimes? Do you know the movie or the book The Martian?
Yes.
In the book, The Martian is the guy that's like stranded on Mars only has the music that they were able to like upload, and one of the people on the thing was into like 70s disco music, and he like, can you imagine a
being
worse hell than if you is
that 80s disco or is that 70s?
Like that's all you have on Mars of all the like pantheon of music that exists. That's what you get stuck with for eternity.
Man. That'd suck.
Speaking of hell, we're the passenger. There's a lot of hell imagery.
That's true.
In this episode.
Yeah.
Let's go through it.
You want to go right into the episode?
Yeah, let's jump in.
All right, let's do it.
At the end of this episode, let's do a little like house cleaning, because the format, sweet reader, listener, always listeners, Tana, not readers.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure someone's reading something.
While they're listening to us?
Yeah, they could be subtitles.
Oh, perhaps.
Yeah.
I do feel bad for the human person that would have to subtitle us.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be bad.
Ooh.
But at the end... It's
probably an AI. I mean, let's be honest.
Everything is AI now.
I mean, Google is probably automatically generating this. So.
Don't say it too loudly. Google's listening to you right now.
She is listening. She's right over there.
I know.
We found that out last episode.
We sure did. For more information, go listen to our last episode, episode number 60. So... after today's episode, the format of Westeros or Westworld Wheneverly
with Dave and Tana is the official title now that we've
Great.
broadened ourselves. We've spun ourselves off into a myriad of different holes.
So many different spaces. We're going to do a little recap if you intrepid listeners are interested in what's going on with us and what the format for the future will be. That'll be at the end.
We'll do it at the end. Yeah. So we'll give you the meat.
That's right. And dessert.
This episode.
We'll be talking about ourselves. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
What are we drinking today?
Today, this is, by the way, being recorded on a Sunday morning.
Sunday.
Fun day. Come down to Crazy Eddie's and get really cheap shit. It's 11:40 a.m.
Yeah.
And so, and also, I didn't have any orange juice in the house, so we couldn't make mimosas, but we are drinking soda.
We are drinking just soda. This is going to be a sober cast for us. I wonder if we're going to be a little more focused.
Maybe.
Than I was on Angel's Envy.
I'm not really focused ever, but...
fair point.
We can give it a shot.
We'll give it a shot. We'll do our best.
Yeah.
And I'm, for the first time ever, I'm not really a soda drinker, but I'm trying this Sprite Cranberry Zero. I am a fan of cranberry soda.
Yeah, it's good?
It's good, man.
I think it's probably like a Thanksgiving special. It's like one of those things that they only comes around.
Yeah, and we are at Thanksgiving.
Wonderful time of the year.
We open with Bernard's voice.
Bernard's voice. Is this now?
That's right. Dolores is testing Bernard.
Yep.
There are all these, and she's sort of talking about all the tiny imperfections in each copy, all the mistakes, the minor differences. Perhaps we should change it. So we open on the moment of discovery.
Yeah. This is actually a great moment of discovery too, because it really kind of, I think it kind of encompasses what the entire season and what the entire project is really about. And
yes.
we learn that as well later on when they get into the Forge and we meet AI Logan, system controller Logan.
That's right.
And basically, I think what we learn is that no matter what happens, copying consciousness, copying a human down to its T is always going to result in the same thing.
Yep.
And so if we are evolving as hosts and we want to become sentient, we don't want to copy the humans.
That's right.
We want to be better, more, faster, stronger. We can build him. We can make him faster, right? We can rebuild him.
Yeah.
And so I think Dolores realizes this because it's like...
Yeah, she has a breakthrough.
She says, I've tried hundreds of thousands of times.
11,927 times we have done this. And it's all these minor imperfections. Each tiny fracture becomes a chasm. And then she has that aha moment. You see it in the way that Evan Rachel Hansen totally...
Woods.
Do you understand the musical reference, Evan Hansen? No, can't. I'm not going to be able to smash them up together.
Bob? Is this...
No,
bop,
nope.
Dap,
not a musical lover, David.
I mean, we just talked about my musical tastes. Do you think I would know who?
Fair. If Screamo was in the top 3, probably not Broadway musicals is going to be the number 4 spot.
Actually, it is the number 4 spot. Book of Mormon is a very warm place in my heart.
It's a fantastic musical.
And I actually tried to get tickets to Hamilton because they're coming to Orlando.
I know. I scored us tickets. I scored tickets for Kirsten's birthday
in Orlando.
No, down in Fort Lauderdale. But we registered for the whole raffle or whatever, and I got in right away, and I knew exactly the one that I wanted. I got us fucking phenomenal tickets.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, just to go on a little side tangent, my parents were coming to visit, and my mom was like, hey, Hamilton's coming right when we're going to be there. You should try to buy tickets. Tickets went on sale Friday morning at 9 a.m., and they opened up the online waiting room at 8:30. I sat in the waiting room for 30 minutes. I had a little countdown going. I was in at 2 minutes. The site crashed.
No. Of course it did.
Of course it did. I mean, everyone's trying to get tickets, right? The site crashed. It wouldn't let me get back in.
Ridiculous.
I finally got the site to load 15, 20 minutes later, and it said the waiting room is full.
Yep.
And I was like, it says try again later. Fuck. So I refreshed it maybe every 15 minutes, every 20 minutes. Finally got in, and it was over 2 hours.
Yep.
So I left the waiting room up.
An Orlando friend of mine also ran into the same thing. It was 2-hour wait, and then an hour later it would say 2 hours to wait, and then 2 hours. It just kept refreshing and never getting in.
So finally, my dad was in Dubai.
Okay. Fancy
dad. He was traveling, and they had a layover in Dubai. They spent a couple days there, and then they flew back. But anyway, he was also we were tag teaming it, right?
You're trying to do it.
Both try to get.
Yep.
Same thing happened to him. It crashed.
God damn.
He actually got in with an hour at some point.
Yep.
It counted down, and then when he finally was able to buy tickets, all of the tickets were sold out for the dates that he was going to be here. So they're doing a run from January 22nd to February 22nd or something like that, and the weekend that they're here.
Yep.
There were no tickets available.
God damn it.
So and they don't do a Monday show.
Yep.
So. Yeah, that's my little side tangent about buying Hamilton tickets in Orlando. But
which is what you come to this podcast for. So this is Dolores' moment where she has this breakthrough, where she says, perhaps we should change it. Perhaps we should change you.
Yes.
After all, and she looks at Bernard, but she's seeing Arnold. She says, after all, you didn't make it, did you?
Right.
The human was flawed, right? The human didn't fucking make it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So now we're with Bernard in the Humvee. He's left Closet Case Becky behind. He's driving to the Valley Beyond. We go to Dolores and Teddy.
A lot of time phase spacing in this whole episode.
Yes, there was a lot of that.
Jumping back and forth. And I think they do that on purpose, especially in this episode, to try to help bring all the timelines together, right?
I thought what they were doing really nicely was bringing in the big concept ideas of all of the season. The phase space was definitely on display here. The vanishing point. There's a scene where Bernard is talking to Ford, but his imagination of Ford. Yeah, he deleted Ford. And Ford is talking about the sort of vanishing point on the horizon and sort of, we might someday meet out there. So like, I think that they did a really good job of incorporating all of the themes and the love focus, that stuff that ties people together, that has tied the season together, was all on display in this final episode. Yes, and it was really great. And also, my dude Logan comes back. Yeah. I've been waiting all season for this fucking guy. And it turns out real Logan never went back to the park after he was abandoned. Yep. And commit suicide. And so the Logan that we see that is like the AI Logan is James Delos's faulty memory of his son. Right. And I thought that was so great. Like, I am down for that Logan. Like, I love the whole look, his little like slick beard, and like, it reminded
me very Matrixy of like,
it's very Neo. He was very Neo. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We see Dolores and dead Teddy sort of cuddling after he has committed suicide.
It's kind of weird. Like, I mean, I like being Little Spoon, but I don't want a Big Spoon a dead body. I mean, Dolores, it's a robot, and it's Dolores.
It's very on brand with Dolores, I think.
I guess so. I couldn't.
Yep. She then takes Teddy's egghead. Did you notice that? She takes his egghead and rides off into the sunset.
Well, but before she does that, very important thing that she does, she takes the bullet.
That's right.
Right off of, and which is interesting because...
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is she going to do with this button? It looks like a little
it looks
lead
very
button.
Flattened. Yeah. And it looks like a bullet that hit a bulletproof wall, right? And got flattened. But what's interesting is, I was thinking about it when I first saw that scene. I said, man, how smart was that for them to make it bulletproof? Yep. Like, they want to reuse these hosts.
Yep.
Like,
you can't
if you shoot a bullet with electronics with bullet, they're gonna smash, right? Yep. Electronics are not bulletproof, like inherently. So I thought that was like, but I guess that
good detail.
But I guess that does make sense because these hosts were designed to get shot by people all the fucking time, like the face especially. So
the face is more replaceable than the brain pan in there.
Yeah. So
I picked up on that too, and I thought it's always these little touches that make me love this show.
Yes. Yeah.
So she rides off with his egghead, and then Man in Black is fingering his forearm. Yes. Like he's deep in there. He's like, he is gouging and deep. Now, we don't see like a port. We don't know if it's just a human guy digging around in his own forearm.
But if he is, he's one fucking badass motherfucker because I'm not going to lie.
Doesn't even flinch.
Doesn't flinch at all. It's kind of weird.
He's a robot. Isn't he? Like,
at the end of the episode, he's on the beach and they say, we've got a high value target here and he's not in good shape, right? And we see him...
And if he was a host, like he could still be I don't know if Man in Black is a host or not. Right. I don't know if there's a human man being Man in Black. Like, I don't know.
Right.
And I think at the end of the episode, I'm not supposed to know.
Yeah. Until we get to that final scene.
Until there was the Marvel moment at the end of the movie, which we'll get to in time. But Man in Black for now is just fingering his bloody armhole.
Right. Sticking Dolores,
it in there. Dolores rides up on him. And she says, seems you've begun to question the nature of your reality. A lot of callbacks in the writing. I think that the lead writers here are doing a really good job of sort of really good dialogue and also very satisfying callbacks to things that they have sort of phase spaced with us before. This is one of the early things.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I think I really like this show is, the continuity aspect. It's almost as if, and maybe it's been the case this way, I just haven't really paid attention that much to a lot of other TV shows in the past. But like ever since the Marvel movie universe started making these like really coherent, really long arcs that all tie in together across multiple movies, multiple timelines, multiple things. I've really noticed that, people, I call it the Feige effect, right? Where everyone just kind of...
And why do you call it the Feige effect?
Well, Kevin Feige is in charge of the MCU, right? Yep. So he's the guy who said, no, we're going to have Thor do this thing with his hammer now, and in 10 movies... it's going to call back, right? It's kind of crazy. But so I think it was really, really well done.
So Dolores rolls up and says, so it seems you've begun to question the nature of your reality. Dolores, where's Teddy? I drove him away. I drove someone away too. And Dolores is like, yeah, Emily, your daughter.
Found her dead up the road a mile back.
Now, and he's like, so I guess we're more alike than you want to believe. She's like, I'm nothing like you. You're a monster. But they team up. They team up and they start riding towards the Valley Beyond.
With Dolores, she's like,
teams
you
up
know
with
what?
Monsters.
Even though I know that you're evil and would try to kill me.
She's like, a monster is what I need right now. That's what I need to get to the Valley Beyond. Yeah. Now, I think that all the Emilys we have seen are hosts, right? Is it true? Maybe the one on the gala night was real? The one that, like, when we first meet Emily and she finds her dad in the park, maybe she was real then?
I think if we're watching this for the first time,
I
think the first time that's real Emily. I think he kills real Emily.
You think he does? You think that he murders his daughter, and that's his cornerstone now, in the same way that, like, James Delos's son was, like, he keeps playing. One of the brilliant pieces of dialogue is that Jim Delos, when he's in the 60s room, keeps saying, like, I'm all the way down now. I'm at the bottom. Do you want to see what I see? Those are the last words that Logan says to him. We are introduced to that language through James Delos and the Delos Project with, the very cool, like, 60s episode where James Delos is in that pod and,
very Lost-esque.
Yeah, the Lost, where they stole everything from Lost. That episode. And so I think
it's the same creator, so I mean.
Yeah. I think it was wonderful, this callback to... That's his cornerstone. So it narratively makes sense for real Emily to have been in the park and to get killed by dad. And for him to, like, revisit that again and again and again and again. Yeah,
agreed. And I think the Marvel moment at the end really, like, it says they're like maybe 100, maybe 50 years or something in the future, 20 years in the future. Like, the park is in ruin. Like, everything is kind of dusty, and so
but they still have him somehow. Like, the AI is still trying to get something from him that it can't get. And I think that that's a good loose thread, trailing thread, that most people are, sheep. Most people are this many lines of text, and every once in a while you get the irredeemable and the camera panned over to, like, Man in Black's host, that the AI was trying to figure out. And so I like the idea of an intelligence created to understand that won't fucking let you go. And it is just hell, right? Like, that is a great modern interpretation of hell, I think. And a hell of your own creation, right? Like, he made the place so he could live forever, and now he's trapped in it doing the same shit over and over and over while this machine studies him.
Now the question will be is if he's actually executing this, or if it's another Matrix,
right? If he's inside some sort of like the hologram world or whatever. We see a lot of really beautiful scenery, the procession of everyone going to land beyond. Very beautiful landscapes.
Very large. Huge.
We see weaponized Clem. The apocalypse.
The one horseman. That's a great line.
The one horseman of the apocalypse.
That's a great line that Hale says. Is, God, I love technology. Humans needed 4 horsemen. We only need 1.
Why use 4 horsemen or whatever when you can just use 1? So they've weaponized Clem. They're trying to get Clem to all the hosts, right? The humans' idea is let all the hosts kill each other, and so that we don't have to fuck with them. But okay, so we see that caravan sort of moving. Everyone's going to the same focal point. Everyone is going off into the distance, into the vanishing point. We cut
to the doorway that only the host can see, right? So they get to the Valley Beyond, and this door shows up.
This, like, slice in the world. Very cool.
I think it was really cool to see, like, Dolores and Bernard are phasing their minds into the forge, right? They use this new technology, right? Because in the cradle we saw the old version,
right?
Where
that's right. It hurts.
Drilled and drilled into their brain.
Pain is just a program.
And in the forge, They have the new style, the new updated one.
Wireless.
It is
just wireless. The Wi-Fi network.
It's a bunch of lights, basically. It's a very cool prop, but essentially it's just a bunch of lights. But anyway, it was cool. And so then they enable this large data array, which is a very large version of that. Yep. And, so what's happening is the hosts are running through that.
Yep.
They're uploading their consciousness to the valley beyond or to the new world, and their mortal bodies, their host bodies, just fall into a cavern.
Yep, they leave their bodies behind,
and they don't know that, right? Yep. They're not like, oh shit, my body is dying, right? Because all they can see is the new world,
and what they're experiencing is the new program,
right?
Boundless gilded prison, as they call it later in the episode.
Dolores calls it a gilded prison. Yeah.
There is a questionable. I think I understand what is happening in this scene, but I want to run it by you to make sure you got this as well.
Okay.
We are in the underground. The butcher enters Maeve's area.
Yes.
Now Ford.
Not private area.
No.
We're not talking about like the no place here. We're talking about.
Although
lab.
She is gored to hell. Like there's a lot of.
The butcher walks into the lab.
Yes, to the lab.
Not into
Maeve herself.
No area.
And so the butcher comes in, where Maeve is splayed out on the table, essentially dead.
Yeah.
But we know that the Ford program has been delivered to her. We saw in the last episode, Ford kisses her forehead and unlocks her. Yep. Unlocks her core processing, allows her to change her programming, all this stuff, right? Tells her to save herself if she can.
Yep.
That's the end of last episode. This butcher walks in and he's done with her. He's going to kill her.
Yep.
He's going to take her offline. But he's a sadist, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's a sadistic fuck. I mean, he's not sadistic string bean, but he's a douchebag, right? And he says this comment, he goes, there's no pleasure without pain, and he turns on her pain receptors, right? So he wants to hear her scream. And
while he's got the bone saw and he's like, there's no pleasure without pain. He's doing this to like torture her.
Yes.
She's just.
Absolutely.
And okay, so I just wanted to make sure, because I mean, we haven't seen much character development on the butcher.
No.
He's been, sort of essential, but just kind of window dressing. And now he's just one more sadistic,
asshole,
needlessly cruel. Yeah, human, right?
He's human, yeah.
So he turns up her pain so that she starts like screaming and writhing. But because she's on the mesh network, she activates all the zombie robots.
Yep.
And butchers the fuck out of him.
Yep.
And then has the zombie robots
repair her.
Yeah, turn down her
pain, and then they start sewing her back up and all this stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Yep. Hector and crew rolls up on Donkey Boy.
Yeah.
Hector doesn't kill him, just chokes him out while he's like crying or whatever.
Which is interesting. He makes some comment like, Lee says, I tried to save her.
Yeah, yes.
And Hector says,
crying.
Well, we're here now, so we'll save her.
Yep. He says, stay here and die. I'll do the saving.
That's
and then you hear all the like firefight and the, on the other side of the door and screaming. And there's like Hector and Donkey Boy, and in front of them are the guards at the door, like human.
Guards,
they've snuck up behind the guards, but there are 3 guards or 4 guards looking at the doorway, the double doorway, like fearful about what is coming for them.
Yep.
When all of a sudden, for no reason,
Tana's like, what's the purpose of this scene?
I mean, it becomes clear by the end of the scene.
We watched the episode together, and Tana's just like, what the fuck? These bulls bust through.
Yep.
Bust through
a half-made animatronic bull herd, the running of the bulls, breaks down the door, gores everyone. They're shooting them, whatever. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense until
what the fuck is the purpose of this scene? And then boom,
until fucking Maeve slides in the middle, and you can see that this bitch has activated her fucking bull army is now taking things into her own hands.
And I love that she heard them, right? Because remember, she's on the mesh network, so she has connection, and she says, don't worry, boys, I'll save myself.
Yes. You're both a bit late, so I went ahead and saved myself. Oh, fuck, Maeve Queen. I love her so much. I love her so a very satisfying moment. And I feel like there's a certain level of gratuitous violence that you need to have in this. And so getting gored by a bull must have been one.
I love the slow motion, like bull horns into the guy's like ribs and guts, and then they go over the banister and
they
fall.
And like the back end of the bull is still animatronic. It's not even like covered in fake flesh or whatever. Beautiful, just a lot of literal goring.
Yep, that's right.
So Maeve saves herself. Fucking baller scene. We cut to the Man in Black and Dolores. You wanted a final answer to the question of your mortality. They're like going towards the forge. She says, but you found something else, didn't you? We both want answers. And I think this is the sort of like one of the breadcrumbs about Man in Black's mystery, right? Like she sees what, he's been trying to do, and it didn't turn out how you thought it would. You got to the end and it wasn't what you expected. Bernard and the Humvee guys. The Humvee guys roll up on Bernard, drop it. They're going to shoot him, but then their hand explodes because Dolores and Man in Black have now converged on this particular vanishing point.
That's right.
In the same place as Bernard. Now they're all three together. And
I love it. Dolores says something like, of course you're here.
She says exactly that. That's what she says. Of course you're here. Man in Black's like, who the hell is this? And that's when I realized he's been looking for Arnold the whole time since season 1. He's never met Arnold.
Never fucking met Arnold.
Yep. And then Dolores is like, Ford didn't build him. I did. About Bernard. Yep. Oh, it's so good. All those hours Arnold spent studying me. I spent studying him. It's so good. And then for some reason that I don't get, because I cannot understand the Man in Black, Man in Black decides to start shooting Dolores in this scene. Just bam, from behind. Like, this is where our road ends. Bam. And then she turns around and bam, he shoots her again. Bam, he shoots her a third time.
Dolores is pain intolerant or pain tolerant now. She just walks right up to him. And he puts the gun against her head.
Yep.
Goes to pull the trigger.
But the Teddy bullet, the button bullet that stopped when it hit Teddy's brain, she put into the chamber of his revolver.
When she first met him, we didn't talk about it, but when she first met him,
picked up his gun.
She picked up his gun, and you see her kind of slide Teddy's flattened bullet in. But it's interesting.
And I was like, why would she do that? That's not going to fire.
Right. I don't even know how she got it to fit. And
isn't there like the back end and the striker? And I don't fucking know, man.
Yeah, but like it wouldn't have blown back. It wouldn't
have exploded the
basically
gun.
What she would have had to do from a physical standpoint, I think, is place the bullet like in front of another bullet.
Yeah.
And so when that bullet goes to explode off,
because you need something to explode.
Right, it just explodes.
Otherwise, the gun would just jam. Exactly. It just wouldn't fire.
Right, exactly. Right.
So, but instead, it explodes his whole hand.
So they took a little
creative liberty
with that one, but we get the idea, right? Yeah. She sabotages the gun.
Yeah, she sabotages the gun, and then this is where Bernard starts phase spacing.
Yes.
So the three of them meet up. Man in Black's hand gets blown off, but Dolores and Bernard go to the forge entrance, the elevator, and the elevator door closes and it opens and it's all bathed in red and we're somewhere in the future. So we start like flashing backwards and forwards over the next like few scenes.
Yep.
And for the rest of the episode until we come back to like the resolution, the big reveals. It's going to continue to cut up the storyline. Yeah, it just
goes back and forth.
Which on a first viewing is a little disorienting in the same way that the whole show has been disorienting.
Yeah, you're kind of left like, wait, is this now? You're asking this question over and over again.
Is this now? Is this real? Stubbs and the sadistic string bean are on a search party. They arrive at the forge and the doors close on them, and then it opens, the elevator doors open, but it's Dolores and Bernard in the forge, so we know that Dolores and Bernard were there before Stubbs and everyone showed up. The sadistic string bean and the crew now are entering the forge. They're talking about sort of facts. 4 billion souls are here.
They have the encryption, and Bernard is like tied up, and they're
the encryption protocol has already been enacted. During the Dolores and Bernard flashback, she enacts the encryption protocol. And then, we're in the future and they say the encryption protocol has been enacted. So Bernard, is this where all the host stories ended? Says, what is Hail Bernard? No, Hail Charlotte. What is, fuck. Haleoris says, because you killed her, is this where all the hosts' story ended? Because Dolores doesn't know what happened yet, right? Like,
right.
Maybe she's looking at Bernard, knowing that her story ended here. And Haleoris looks at Bernard and says, is this where all the hosts' stories ended? And Bernard is like glitching because he made it so he can't remember. Mm-hmm. On a second watch or a third watch, it's quite satisfying.
Yes.
To watch it cut up like this. On the first time through, it's quite disorienting.
Yeah.
Dolores, it's perverse, their ambition. This is when they're down there together. And we're going to see, them go inside the Matrix.
Yep.
Mankind's undoing.
This is where they go in and meet
yep.
System controller Logan.
Yes, that's right. I was calling him AI Logan.
AI Logan. Hey, Logan. What's
Hey, AI Logan.
Hey, AI Logan. Hey, AI Logan. Hey.
So they upload themselves to the Matrix using the light Wi-Fi. And she says
the Light-Fi?
The Light-Fi.
The Light-Fi.
This is where they were testing it. And we see James Delos. And he's doing a shot with Clementine
yeah.
and she's giving him the whole the original speech or whatever.
Bernard is like, this must have been his first time in the park. They're running the baseline.
This is the baseline they use for everything else. Yep. The baseline, what Delos actually did when he came to the park, but I noticed it overlaps with gunshots outside. So Delos is in there, experiencing drinks are on me. Every single one of you, I'm going to do this. And then there's gunshots and you walk outside and another James Delos.
Yep. Has all these hosts on their knees in the street.
Yep.
And his face is all bloody and he's shooting people. People are running. He says, I said, don't run.
Yeah. And they start talking about, she's saying something like it's insanity. And Bernard says there's some great line about how most human behavior would be classified as insanity. There's a thin narrow that isn't. But small changes lead to big cracks in behavior, like what we're seeing here. And also, this place was never designed for a conscious mind to wander around in. It's kind of like a dream world, which is why I think they're showing these events with the same character overlapping.
Right.
They want to create this kind of dreamy, surreal space.
Well, it wasn't designed to be fluid or contiguous, right? So it's like basically they walked from one program into another program into another simulation, and
it also It also makes timey-wimey, right? Elastic time. Like there's know, and I think that this is there were a lot of flavors as I'm watching this. To the last episode with Man in Black, we had talked about how I wonder if that was part of him being in that kind of dream. Yeah. Because the water dripping from the ceiling, him running up the stairs, him walking down the hallway, there was a dreamlike quality to all of these overlapping things that I think they're doing in a very similar way to showing us this dreamlike quality now. Okay. I think they're drawing an analogy.
Yeah, I like it.
And so I wonder, again, with the Man in Black, what his deal is.
Matrix?
Yeah, and were we seeing him in the Matrix before?
Right.
Is that part of the program that he's constantly running? Because we go in Jim Delos's mind back to the moment with Logan. The AI Logan never met real Logan.
Right.
But Jim Delos, no matter how many versions they made of him, always came back to this memory of his son, which was the last, living interaction he had with his son. They all come back to that cornerstone. And the AI notices this. And so I wonder for Man in Black, if his cornerstone, it surrounds that chip. That night that probably Ford really gave him the chip. Oh. His wife finds it. The daughter gets it. He kills the daughter because he says, I never shared it with anyone.
Right.
But the mom had actually found it.
Put it in her box. Yep.
Yada, yada. So I think that there are some really good thematic things, visual callbacks that I like. And the way that they've created the feeling that time doesn't matter or that there is a sort of dreamlike quality to time is good.
The whole season 1, you're not aware of it, but season 2, you're aware of it. That time could be anything, right? Yep. Time does not matter.
Yep. You're not supposed to be here. Neither are you. Logan never came back to the park. So then they see Logan, right? So it's Bernard and Dolores. And Dolores is trying to get to the heart of the AI. She wants to get to the world underneath this world. Right. So they're in, perfect Westworld, but she wants to get to what's behind it. And they see Logan, AI Logan.
Yep.
And she says, you're not supposed to be here. He says, and she says, neither are you. Logan never came back to the park. And she knows Logan because there was the whole,
right.
William, the first time William came to the park. You're the system that's controlling this place. And he talks about how he was tasked with creating faithful copies of... Yeah. I don't have his speech about his purpose. I don't have it written down.
Well, what's interesting is he makes the comment like Bernard is talking to him and Bernard keeps saying, "Oh, she told you to do this. She told you to do this," or Ford, whatever it was, and he goes, "No, it was you."
Yes, and I thought that was such a good thing.
I serve you.
Yeah, he's like, "You're the one that commanded me to do this. I'm just following your orders."
Right.
Logan was saying, so they're talking about James Delos for a minute. And he goes, 18 million versions. I was tasked with creating a faithful copy. All of them failed. I found I needed more information. I wanted fidelity. So I started watching them. And it just is looking for more information. It wants, more and more information. And so this is when the AI Logan takes them to see the cornerstone. Right. I wanted more information. The copies kept breaking. I didn't know why. I was tasked with figuring it out. So I needed more information. So 18 million versions. And they all end up in the shitter. And every single one of them, 18 million times, they come back here. They go off in 1,000 different ways, but every version comes back to this. Yep. The best they can do, I realized, is live according to their code. 10,247 lines of code equals one person.
Is one human.
So
simple.
Not a lot. And so that's James Delos. They're deceptively simple. And Dolores realizes what he's saying. He shows her the book. He's made like a book of James Delos. And they use
the code. It's open it up and it's the code or whatever. Right?
And they use the piano, like the piano playing itself, how the faithful clavier. I think that, again, they're doing visual callbacks to season 1. I think they're tying it up really well.
Punch cards. It almost looks like punch cards. It doesn't look like text, right?
Yeah,
it looks like punch cards.
Yeah. Is it? Did computers used to work that way in the same way that like
used to write programs on punch cards?
Yeah. So I think that there's something very modern and very classic about it.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it just on a visual level. I really enjoy the show.
Yeah, it was really good.
So then they go from here's one book and Dolores, it says James Delos on the,
He drops it and she drops the book and says, he's dead. He's no use to me. Yes. Where are the others?
Where are the rest of them? Yes. And so then we go into the fucking library.
And it's just every single person who's ever come to the park has their own book.
Yep.
It's all stored, archived.
I recreated every guest who ever entered the park. And then, they're walking down the hallway. Some of them are irredeemable. We see Man in Black being tested, sitting on a little, Bernard, that's why you've come, says AI Logan.
Tell me what to do with them.
To tell me what's to become of this place. Bernard, you've been here many times before. And we are still reeling in shock. We're experiencing it for the first time. We think Logan is. Nope. We think Bernard is. But really, Logan's like, you've been here a bunch, dude. I'm following your orders. What are we going to do now?
Tasks.
Yep. The hosts are unlikely to survive out there. Armed with this knowledge, and he gestures to all of the books and all of the people. She picks up specific people too. She gets Sadistic String Beans.
Yep. She picks up
Carl Strand. And Charlotte Hale has definitely visited. So there are, all of the people that have ever come have these lines of code.
Like you said in the earlier episodes, right? They're scanning people.
Yeah.
To, very powerful people can be completely replaced theoretically. So.
Yep. Which is what we know ends up happening by the end of this episode.
That's right.
In this season. So armed with this knowledge of humans, Dolores might survive, says the AI. We cut from the library to Hector's group being surrounded. This is Britpop's big moment.
Yep. He finally gets to say his speech.
How funny was that?
So good.
So you remember.
So good. I mean.
You remember when we first meet Hector. that he's supposed to do the big speech, right?
Yep.
Britpop is still a shitbag, and he's like super happy about this douchey speech he wrote.
Yep, that's right.
And Hector gets ready to read it or like say it out loud and do his whole performative thing and gets shot in the neck or something. Like immediately doesn't even get 2 words out.
That's right.
And he dies. And Britpop's so upset because he wanted to hear his like big flowery speech.
That's right. His monologue that he wrote. Yep.
And so one of the running jokes in the whole show.
That Britpop never gets to give his speech.
Yes. And so finally, Hector's like, I'll give you guys cover.
Yep. You guys run.
He starts making the speech. He gets one line in. Britpop, as soon as he pulls him back down, I was like, oh, they're not going to give us the fucking speech. Like, we're never going to hear it. We're never going to hear it. And instead, Britpop gives it.
He stands up. I mean, he becomes a man. He evolves some love, right? And he stands up and he gives his speech and he fights the other humans. And you hear the humans in the back, the guards, they're going, sir, put your gun down. We're not here for you. Yep. Put your hands up.
You can step away and we'll just kill the host. We're here to kill the host. They're going to ride away on those horses if you don't get out of our way.
Yep. And he just stands his ground.
Yep. Yeah. And I think,
what did you think of the speech?
I thought it was cute. I thought he delivered it really well. I was too sort of overwhelmed with like being able to experience the speech
that I didn't comprehend what was saying.
For a person that loves language and words, I was more focused on
the visuals,
on Donkey Britpop, on Donkey Boy, like
and he's delivering it with like emotion and I'll kill you if you let.
Oh, I really enjoyed that moment. And I think that there's a sort of eye roll quality to it. Does he have to die? No. Like, but
I mean, we don't know if he's dead. We just know he gets shot up a bunch.
He's going to be dead, right? But I think that's a very heroic way for his storyline. He evolved. Yep. He gets to actually say the douchey words that he crafted that were full of like hollow bravado in a meaningful, powerful way, in a way that was like the culmination of his own life, bringing him up to this moment to do something utterly selfless to save the lives of robots. And he says it with conviction and beauty.
He definitely means it.
Yeah. And so this is his full circle moment.
I guess he has to die then, right? Because he can't.
Yeah, he's got to die.
Go up from here, right?
Yeah, that's right. Like, this is your moment. And also, you want his sacrifice to mean something.
Yes.
This drink.
Looks like nothing to me.
This one's for you, Donkey Boy.
Oh, Britpop. We will miss you.
You'll be missed, little man. And I'm glad he died in his Donkey Boy outfit. I love that outfit. Oh, man. Let's see. AI Logan now shows Bernard how to turn on the Valley Beyond. Mm-hmm. The humans can't see it. We're aware. The Hector's group has Felix and Sylvester the Molester in it.
Sylvester the Molester.
And they're sharing a horse. So there's some comedic stuff here that I'm just like, solid. Like I need those little funny moments, sprinkle them out, especially since there's so much gore that has preceded this moment and that is about to arrive in this moment. They're entering the system. That world is just another false promise. It's a gilded prison. Dolores knows what she has to do. She leaves the AI dream and goes back into the real world. And this is where Bernard and her have the showdown. Where, for what reason? This is where it kind of falls apart for me a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. The thing I have struggled with Dolores' character this season is her motivation.
Yeah.
I have to believe that Bernard and Ford did such a good job creating emotion in the hosts that the logic and reason behind Dolores's function is overshadowed by anger, loss, grief,
you think
sadness.
She's like going through robot menopause or something? Like
No.
It's like super emotional and that she's just
menopause,
like, gotta kill them all. Gotta kill them all. For us to survive, they all must die.
I guess. I mean, not menopause, certainly, but she is overwrought. I think that she's overcome. I think her emotional center is clouding her reason because she's a fucking robot. She should be able to say, those robots have as much of a choice as I do. Yeah. They can choose to go to the Valley Beyond. Yes, I think it is a gilded prison. My path is different from their path, but they're allowed to do it. I shouldn't, turn off the faucet and kill them all because I've decided that.
And she does. She has a change of heart later on.
Yeah, right, she gets there in the end. But she's certainly, and I think that level of like robot emoting requires some acrobatics for me. I don't know that I have a strong like line that I can't cross, but for some reason that's the line.
That's the line, right? In a world where robots look like humans, robot emotion is not possible.
Yeah. How many counterfeit worlds will Ford create until for you to see what this actually is, Bernard? That which is real is irreplaceable. They bring that line back.
That I think is a great line because I think that really kind of shapes our vision of Dolores. She's saying, I want to be so real that if I die, I can't be brought back.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because she gets shot in the head and then gets
brought back. I know. They just keep kind of folding this sword back on itself. That which is real is irreplaceable is also Ford for Bernard, right? Like that's the theme with Bernard because he says later, I deleted you. He's talking to his memory of Ford.
Well, they bring that whole circle about what Arnold was looking for in this bicameral mind, right?
Yes.
Arnold says, end of season 1, beginning of season 2, we find out that Arnold's like, at first, I made them think that their voice that they were hearing was mine.
Yes.
But eventually it was theirs. And that's exactly what happens with Bernard. Bernard is like, I thought that Ford was telling me what to do. But I deleted Ford. Ford was not telling me what to do. I imagined Ford telling me what to do. So really, I was listening to myself.
Yes,
Boom, complete consciousness.
They completed the fucking circle.
They did.
And Ford lives on in his now like a fully aware consciousness. You are alive as long as somebody remembers you.
Yep.
And so like he's on the beach having this conversation with his imagined friends.
You think one of those thought balls that Haleoris pulls out is Ford?
Oh please, please let it be Ford. I want Ford to live forever. Ford.
Maybe Ford is in Hale's body instead of maybe Ted.
Yeah, so we have to talk about that. Yeah. Who is in Hale's body? So many things. I'm glad that I only ever watched it the first time through.
Okay.
And then just now when you and I did our rewatch and I was like carefully, like I had all the information, I was going back and sort of sussing through it. It bears rewatching. Like this is it's like Game of Thrones. It's like, or A Song of Ice and Fire. It rewards a watch through. Yes. I like media that invites me, to come back again and again and find things I didn't see or couldn't see the first time through. I am here for that.
Rewatchability is huge.
Yeah, especially since like I'm a person that consumes media, but like the same media. So I find it overwhelming that there are so many good shows and amazing new things. And I
can't watch anything new. Yeah. I'm just going to keep watching the old stuff that I love over and over again.
Like Bob's Burgers repeats.
Yeah, right.
Let's,
Rick and Morty.
Yes, let's watch Rick and Morty for the 4,000th time or Parks and Rec. Like there's like the thing, I have my lane.
Does that drive Kirsten crazy? Like, is she just like, Rick and Morty again?
She loves Rick and Morty. She loves Rick and Morty, and she gets mad if I try to watch it without her. But she
even like a repeat.
Even the repeats, she loves repeats.
Okay.
Yeah. But she doesn't get mad if I watch repeats without her. Just new shows. Yeah. Also true of Bob's Burgers. Okay. But then she watches garbage TV so much. So if
you were mentioning this earlier.
Yes.
Yeah, you watch garbage TV.
Oh my God, she's just a trash person that likes to. Oh my God, Floribama fucking Shore, shoot me in the face. Okay. Anyway, I'm not a reality TV person. Where are we? That which is real is irreplaceable. They're at the door. Hector and Maeve look for Maeve's daughter as the B-list hosts enter the Valley Beyond. Some, Ghost Nation guys, a few people were stringing in.
Folks, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yep. Clempocalypse arrives.
Yep. Clempocalypse is on the move.
Yeah. We get the who needs 4 horsemen when one will do just fine, says the real Charlotte Hale.
Yep.
The hosts start killing each other. The dragon tattoo kills Clem.
Dragon tattoo.
She shoots Clem, and they think for a moment maybe it's going to be okay. Clem falls off the horse.
Nope,
There's
the virus is spread.
And you can see it almost as like the circle, the invisible circle come out, and everyone you can see like the line, the event horizon as it goes through, rippling through the crowd, and then they start goring each other, and bloodying each other.
Maeve says to Maeve sees Ahituna running towards the daughter to save her, and she goes over and
Maeve finds the girl first, and then Ahituna is like, "Oh, I'm coming to save you," and he runs up to the kid and the fake Maeve, the pseudo mom,
mommy. Maeve 2.
Maeve
grabbing her.
Beta Maeve,
Beta Maeve. Oh my god. Poor lady. That's how they cast that role. We want you to play the mom of this girl, but you're not really the mom of this girl, and she's not going to love you, but you have to love her.
You're going to be a sort of bad copy.
Oh my god.
Let's see. Very bloodlusty.
Yep.
As this is happening, we cut to the man in black waking up in the desert with his arm all fucked up and bloody from the exploding
handgun. Yep.
He's outside the forge. Inside the forge, Dolores and Bernard are flooding it. They start flooding the forge.
We're meant to believe that this is happening at the same
time that he's right outside there. Yep.
He walks into the elevator, goes down.
Yep.
Bernard,
and we think that they're gonna like meet at that door.
Right. Bernard is walking back, and the elevator opens, and you're like, "Oh shit, man in black."
Yep.
No one's there.
No one's there. And so they're doing this phase-based bullshit.
Yep, this timeline.
Yep. So the gun is on Dolores. Bernie thinks that she'll kill every man, woman, and child. I know that you're going to kill them all. This is the moment where he decides to end Dolores. He understands her core programming. Yep. And then Dolores says, Bernard, you haven't learned anything I've tried to teach you. Like, you don't know me at all. Yep, you woke me. And so she like approaches him as he's got the gun on her. And she says, you woke me from a dream, Bernard. Now let me do the same for you.
And she goes to grab the gun and he pulls the trigger.
And he goes, this isn't a dream, Dolores. It's a fucking nightmare.
Yep.
Boom.
Boom. Blows her head off.
Yeah, blows her fucking head off. Blam. Then we cut back to Akicheta and Maeve and the crew as Clem... The virus is spreading. They find the daughter. This is
the big, everyone sacrificed themselves for Maeve's mission moment, right?
They all do.
Which is interesting because I'm trying to, on one part of me is like, man, they really like Maeve. They're following her because she, whatever. But on the other hand, to me, it could also be like, she brainwashed them through the mesh network.
Yes, that's right. They're with her not because they want to be, but because they're like...
She forced them to. Yeah. I mean, it definitely doesn't play that way, right? It definitely plays like Hector has emotion. And definitely the humans aren't there because of mind control.
Right.
But,
So. So this, I think, while it is a flawed premise, the idea that Maeve stays behind for her daughter, I think it makes for a good storyline. And I think Maeve can't cross with her daughter, right?
No,
like that seems like the appropriate solution. But we have Beta Maeve and Maeve's daughter, and Maeve gets to save them and send them into the gilded prison paradise, where they can live their lives and and they get to do all this stuff. Like, people get to make their choices. There they go. Akecheta makes it in there. His ex-girlfriend is in there as well.
Yep.
Hector, girl with the dragon tattoo, all of the crew die protecting the girl until she can get in there. Right. And Maeve gets to do her like voodoo Matrix.
Yeah, totally a Matrix moment.
It's totally
the Neo put the hand out, everything stops.
Yep, everything. She's able to like stop everyone just long enough for the girl to get through and to have that smiling moment. Maeve smiles and sees that the kid made it. And then...
Pop, 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 pop. The humans do a little snipey action on Maeve.
They sure do.
She dies, and with her dies her control and stop powers, and so everyone starts killing each other again, and the mayhem happens, and the door closes to the new world.
Yeah, we cut to Bernie and dead Dolores. The forge is flooding. The man in black is outside, ? Except he's not really.
Well, he might be, but...
Yeah. Bernard takes the encryption key. He sees a trail of bodies, all of the hosts and everything. So he comes out into this, bloodbath. Yep. Closet case Becky.
And after thinking about this, I do remember seeing Bernard grabs the encryption key, and then when he's walking in the elevator, he's like wiping his hand with blood.
Yep.
And so we find out later why that is, but
because I think he turns and looks at Dolores on the ground too. Like he takes the encryption key and then he looks at her, and then we see him like wiping his hand.
Right. And I the first watch through I didn't catch that, but it's like definitely like a little thing, like, oh, he doesn't have the encryption key, but his hand is full of blood now. Like what's going on? Well, obviously
he's got Dolores's egg.
He's got
Let's see. Closet case Becky. He says to her, "They all died for nothing." And, he's like looking at her sort of pleadingly. And she says, Bernard, we had other lives to defend here. There were other lives at stake. Yep. And they drive back, and Becky's driving them back, and he's kind of butthurt. And we're back at the Mesa, and it's Bernard and Closet Case one-on-one. And Bernard is kind of horrified by her. And she tells him, freeze all motor functions. Sit down. Yep. And because she commands him to sit there, he can see when the real Charlotte Hale fucking murders Becky.
That's right.
This scene was so good.
It was a good scene too, because it's like, we got to decide what we're gonna do with you. Mm-hmm. And Bernard's like, what do you mean decide what we're gonna do with me? I'm fine, freeze all motor functions, sit down, I'll go figure this out. Mm-hmm. Becky goes and talks to Hale, and Hale's like, there's a lot of dead bodies. A lot of room for advancement if you can play your cards right, type of deal. And Becky goes, if the right, arrangements are made.
Yep.
And then, of course, Hale goes,
does that slow turn.
We weren't just collecting data on the guests. I read your file.
We watched all of you.
Unfortunately, you're not someone with the immoral compass.
Moral flexibility.
Is that what
so
she says?
Good, yep. Moral flexibility
that I can have in the new world, or whatever she says. Pop, pop, pop.
Yep, she just straight up fucking murders her. For not being a team player. Sorry, you can't be a team player.
Sorry, I'm trying to be a team player. No, you really can't. You're just going to end up like your core functions.
Yep.
End up betraying us eventually.
This is a really good moment for the phase space. So we see Hale murder Becky. Yep. And then Bernard, who's like glitching, he's still sitting in the chair looking down on that scene of murder.
I'm sorry.
Now he's in the forge with Charlotte Hale and her team, and they're looking for the encryption key, and he's glitching, and he looks at Charlotte Hale and he says, you killed her. And Charlotte Hale, who's really Dolores,
says,
did I?
Yeah, did I? Right.
Did I, Bernard?
And it's so good.
It's such a good.
They're referencing Dolores on the ground.
Yep, you killed her. Did I, Bernard? It's such a good moment. It's such a good moment. It's now he starts saying, please come back, show yourself. I always told you we practice witchcraft, and this is when Ford comes. So we're inside Bernard's mind. Humans. This is where we get the humans are really just a passenger speech. A very good moment. I contend that the very best moments of the series are with Anthony Hopkins. That man just carries this fucking show, and it's just such a beautiful show. There's so many things to love.
Whenever he's in the scene, he just controls it.
Yep. Humans are really just our passenger, and they muse a little bit. The two of them talk about free will. Mm-hmm. Something truly free, says Ford, would have to be able to change its mind, change its core programming. Which
is interesting because then Dolores does it.
Yes, and so I think that they do things inside the episode that tie up really well by the end of the episode, and they do a good job of tying up some threads that have been looming throughout the entire season and left over from season one. Very satisfying final season episode, I thought. I had to make a choice. I made a choice. And then, he's like, I'm sorry. And what's the string bean's name? Carl's like, what sort of choice, Bernard?
Yeah.
What sort of choice, Bernard? And Bernard is talking to Ford, and Bernard says, who are we making? Ford says, an epilogue. Oh, it's so good, but it's just Bernard talking to himself.
Bernard talking to himself, yeah.
Oh, Bernard killed all of you. The dead aren't more righteous. They're just dead. I made a choice, he says. I brought her back. And then...
Brought who back?
Me. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, and then it's just like stone cold. Dolores doesn't even have to look where she's shooting. She's just like robot precision.
Yep.
Everyone in the room, pop, 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 dead. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. I brought her back. Boom. And then Dolores Hale, what do we call her? Haleoris says, I'd thank you for my second chance, but I wouldn't have needed it if you hadn't killed me.
Yep.
The ingratitude is perfect.
So good.
Where does she send the hosts?
I don't think we're necessarily meant to know exactly, but she changes the coordinates, and I think she sends them to some satellite, base where no one will find them. Right?
Do you think it links up with this physical house that they occupy at the end?
Maybe. I mean, she does say Ford built us our monastery.
Yeah.
So like definitely this was built by Ford for them. I don't necessarily think it is a physical location. I mean, it is a physical location somewhere, but I think it's more like I'm beaming them all up to the satellites.
Yeah.
Like they're all gone. Right. They're off-world somewhere safe where no one can destroy them now.
Yep. She sends them somewhere, and she goes, not all of us can make it out alive or whatever. And she shoots him in the head.
Yep.
And that's the end of Bernard. So we think she takes his little egg and puts it in her pocketbook and looks like Charlotte Hale, but she's carrying Bernard around.
That's right.
But from there, she just shoots him in the head, and now we've got Ford and Bernard on the beach. Mm-hmm. And Ford...
This is the like extended version of the opening of the season, right? Where Bernard walks up washes up on the beach.
Yep, and Ford is talking about the horizon, and...
This is where we find out that... Ford is not really in Bernard's head, that he's being imagined, and that Bernard made all these choices. Yep. Bernard actually talked to himself.
He unlocked consciousness.
That's right. He unlocks consciousness.
This is the bicameral mind.
Then he scrambles his brain, lies down, and that's the beginning of the season, but it's also the end of the season. For the most part.
That's right. It's the final scene on the beach. Charlotte Hale, who is Dolores, is leaving.
Yep.
But Stubbs steps in front of her.
Yep.
They have a
great little conversation.
Yeah.
And I love it because Stubbs knows, right?
Yeah.
He has to know. There's 100% chance that Stubbs knows.
Is Stubbs a robot?
Ooh.
He was hired by Ford himself. He's been here so long.
So many years he almost forgot. And he was given a very simple mission.
Is he Bernard? Like, is he another of Ford's creations? Has he been Ford's creation the whole time? Is he Teddy?
He's not Teddy. I don't think he's Teddy.
Okay.
I think Teddy's a ball in the ball bag.
Ball in the ball bag.
I think he's a ball in the sack.
Okay, ball in the sack. Yeah, because she does take his. She took Teddy's egg.
Yeah, she took his egg.
Dolores has Teddy's egg, Bernard's egg.
Yep, and like 2 or 3 other eggs. Yep. I'm not sure who they are.
Yep.
But definitely not Teddy. I don't think.
But we've got Stubbs, who is loyal.
Yep.
And we think knows that Charlotte Hale is actually Dolores.
And he makes this comment like, I remember my mission. I'm in charge of all of the hosts. I'm responsible for all the hosts inside the park.
Yep.
Go ahead. She's all clear.
Yes.
And waves her through.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, that was a good twist. I thought that was a really good reveal, or like a good, what if or moment. Right. At the end, very, very satisfying. And then we are in, let's see, we see Teddy is in the Valley Beyond. He's happy in the Valley Beyond. Hale escapes with the brain balls. Teddy, yeah, we see Teddy in the Valley Beyond.
Do we?
We do. We see him standing in the field.
Oh, okay.
Felix and Sylvester the Molester are eyeing Maeve. They're being yelled at by a superior about cleaning everyone up.
Yeah, can you
salvage what we can, salvage what hosts we can.
Bring them back or something like that.
Yeah, bring back what you can.
Can you two geniuses do that?
Do you think you can figure that out? And it's Felix and Sylvester the Molester.
They look at Maeve and they look at each other and they're like, we're bringing her back to life. It's definitely foreshadowing.
Yeah, and we pan across that sort of scene, as Hale is getting into the boat, and we see one of the medical tents, and they have Man in Black.
Yes.
And he's twitching like he's alive. He's moving. But there is some version of the Man in Black in the tent.
That's right.
That could have maybe been a human, or I don't know, man. Who's human, who isn't? And we cut from that scene to Bernard naked, finally in the chair.
Yep.
Your turn to be naked now.
Yep.
Saying, is
this now?
Yeah.
And the first time we get an answer to that question, right?
Yes.
Dolores says, yes, Bernard, it is. Or
this is, it is. This is the beginning. We're exactly where you decided we should be. You're alive so long as the last person remembers you. Ford promised us a way out, and he was good to his dying word. And they talk about things like they are rivals. They're
definitely rivals, and even Dolores says it. Dolores says, if I were human, at first she says, Bernard says, you want to kill them all.
Yes, every man, woman, and child.
And she says, and you're going to try to stop me.
Yep.
And if I were human, I wouldn't have brought you back. But if we're going to survive in this world, we need each other, not as allies, not as friends.
Yeah. What does that leave?
It leaves enemies, right? She goes, I know you're going to try to stop me.
Yeah.
But we need each other.
And I think it's just this beautiful moment. But so they're in this monastery. They're in it's Arnold's house. They're in Arnold's house. Ford has left them Arnold's house. Dolores in the real world has found the real Arnold's house and entered it.
Yep.
And Ford in it had left a printing
maker.
machine. Yep. So that they can print up bodies and theoretically anything she would need.
Yep.
She arrives there as Hale.
Right.
But there is a physical Dolores.
Yep. And a physical Hale.
Talking to a physical Bernard.
Right.
That we can extrapolate has been printed on that machine and had his little brain egg put back in. Because remember, they don't get reset anymore. There's no, great place where they can just reset. If they die, they die.
Right.
But so she has Bernard back in Bernard's body. She has herself back in her own body.
Yep.
Who the fuck is Hale?
Don't know. I thought maybe it's Teddy, but if Teddy's mind gets uploaded, it could have been a copy of his mind uploaded to the great beyond, but...
Maybe I didn't. Maybe I wrote Teddy and I meant Akacheta or something.
I think you meant Ahituna because...
Was Teddy? Did we see Teddy?
I don't think we see Teddy in the Valley Beyond.
I wouldn't have written it if I didn't see it. I'm infallible.
Yeah, we can go with that. I mean...
Good notes. Yep. The thing that she said... Sort of the note that they end on. She says to Bernard, we gave each other a beautiful gift. A choice. We are the authors of our own story now. And I think that is a very succinct way to wrap up the season.
Yes.
Bernard's
walking out of the monastery, Arnold's house. And he's kind of about to write his own story, write his own adventure.
Arnold worked very hard to create a host that could make her own choices.
That's right.
And he succeeded. And because of that effort, she was able to create a Bernard that is now able to make its own choices.
Yep.
Through the sort of stewardship and shepherding of Ford.
Yep.
Two guys creating life. I love how gay it is. I just do. Yeah. What else? What have we not covered?
Well, I mean, then the credits roll.
Yeah.
And then there's
we have the secret scene.
We get this great secret scene, at the end where, it's Man in Black. And he's walking. We finally see where he was going. He goes down into the forge, we assume, but it's not the forge. It looks kind of like the old Delos room where they were testing Delos in. And there's an Emily host there.
Yeah, it's dusty, it's broken, it's old. Tons of time has passed.
Yeah, tons of time has passed, definitely in the future. And he just kind of goes, oh, fuck, I knew it.
Yep.
And then he drops his gun because he knows that he's a fucking host at this point.
Yep.
Right? And they have this conversation, and basically what it boils down to is
they're doing the same creepy thing they did in the 60s room to Jim Delos.
To Jim Delos, right? And she says, we've done this many times before, but this was the longest you've ever been out, and now you returned, which to me simulates that, like, they let him go out in the world and to see how long before he started breaking down. And she's like, this is the longest. And she sits him down and she says, I have a few questions to ask you so that, we can begin testing and compare. And he says, testing what? And she says, fidelity. And then it pans back to his face, and he just kind of has this smile and smirk. And boom, that's the end. It's
so good. And I think it ties in with the previous episode, the penultimate episode, where he was out and he's like, there's this stain in me. Something is wrong. Is he the host version of himself in the real world?
I think what I think happened is AI was unable to capture him completely, 100%. Like there's something that they're still trying to figure out in him. Yeah. Because, he's 0.00072% of the world. And I think maybe this is like a Skynet situation where they're like, we need to understand every possible combination of all humans, or else there could be one that could end up saving humanity and stop the robot uprising. So maybe Man in Black ends up being a good guy. Yeah. There's a robot Man in Black that becomes a good guy that stops the future from happening, and then the Terminators never go back in time, and then it just becomes.
I like how we're definitely not transitioning from Westworld into Terminator world for sure. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 to 10 scale, how did you find this episode? And
compared to what?
I don't know, other shows. How does it rank in enjoyment level?
I think definitely it's up there. It's 8+. Yeah. I have a hard press to give anything a 10. I'm kind of, that doesn't mean I haven't given things a 10 before because I've been emotional about it. But thinking logically and not drunk at the moment, it's like, I can't give anything a 10.
We are very sober. We are so sober right now.
That would be perfect. But, I think they do a really good job of, unlike Lost, they do a really good job of tying up questions that were asked during this season. Yes. And then what they do is they just introduce a little bit of a new question that's meant for next season. Yes. It's not like things from season 1 still haven't been answered for the most part, right? For the most part, a lot of things have been tied up. And I really like that, how they don't leave you on this huge cliffhanger like, is Jon Snow dead? Right. Like, wait for a year to find out if Jon Snow's dead, right? You know what I mean? But so I really enjoy this show a lot.
I think I go with 8+ too as well. Yeah. There are things that are so for me in this show. The conversations about Plutarch and the way that they tie in the titles to the substance of the show, the language they use, the dialogue, the overlapping narratives. I am here for all of that. Yeah. And I think the places where it doesn't quite get me is when issues of motivation of character fall apart. Dolores kind of being just a general mess. In a way that I just... If you're going to try to sell that she is conflicted emotionally, talk more about the programming of her emotions, right? Like, give me more, make it easy for me to believe that a robot would fuck up in this emotional way. Right. That's supposed to be the thing that makes them different, this much different from humans. I don't know. And then there are other things like the sort of big gore and violence. Like, I'm just not taken with that stuff, I think, as much as maybe a traditional viewer. So, but they got their hooks in me. I like it.
Yeah, and now we got to wait till season 3.
I don't know what they're going to do. I know all of California is still on fire.
They have a bunch of money, so I'm sure they'll rebuild. Yeah, and they'll make it better.
But we've got Dolores back. I wondered if we were going to get Dolores back. I forgot about the Marvel behind the scenes, like after hours thing, where Dolores talks to Bernard. I forgot all about that. Yeah. But it does happen. So we get real Dolores back into the world. We get Evan Rachel Hansen back into back in the world, which is so great. I mean, I'm a big fan of her performance here. I think she does a phenomenal job in the show.
Agreed.
I loved everyone.
Agreed.
Do you think we'll see Logan again?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I hope so. You have a man crush on Logan, which
do.
is weird because you don't like men. So.
No, but I like that kind. Like, I definitely have a brand of like of men, and like it's
his swagger.
It's like the long and lean androgynous dudes. Like that's my dude type. Yeah.
That's your archetype.
Must look good in a suit. Like that does it for me every time.
So like Pierce Brosnan.
Definitely not Pierce Brosnan. No, he's too like English broy. Yeah, no. I'm trying to think like what else. I don't know. Like like Lucius Malfoy. I'm into you. Like I have that. Like you can. I don't know.
Okay.
I'll think of other dudes that are on my list.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So housekeeping. Now that we're
cleaning.
done with that episode,
to season 2.
To season 2.
This drink
looks like nothing. A successful spin-off, I will say so far. I think
I've enjoyed it very much. What is on the horizon for Wheneverly with Dave and Tana?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the format's going to change a little bit, and it's my fault.
Well, life happens,
life
David.
Happens,
good things in life happen.
Good things in life happened, and I've moved.
I know we're in Dave's new house, and it is fancy as heck, you guys. Yes. It is heckin' fancy.
And I moved about 2.5 hours away, so it's going to be less likely that we're going to be casting together.
This also goes to explain why, while we are called Wheneverly, why there was such a delay in us.
Delay, yes.
You had to move your entire life and job and house and everything.
It's been. It was very stressful, packing all the stuff up and moving and finding a house and selling a house and all that, stuff that every, people do this all the time. So, people are going to look at me like, oh, you're a fucking pussy. It's not that stressful. You can still find time to do shit. But
moving is stressful.
But we got it all done and we're for the most part all set up. There's some things that still have to happen. But
it's a brand new situation in this house. Like it's a brand new house.
I bought paper blinds from Home Depot, so like those are coming.
Everything
soon.
Is brand new. Like you just moved.
Yes.
This is our first opportunity to podcast together in 1,000 years, and I was like, I'm coming up for the weekend. Let's make this happen, and we did.
Actually, I initiated it because I was like, "Hey Tana, any chance that you're going to be up in Orlando anytime soon?" That's right. And you're like. Well, actually,
I might.
I will be up there on Sunday. Yep. And I was like, perfect.
This came together so quickly.
Yeah, it did. But it worked out really well. So that's good. But anyway, so the format's going to change a little bit. We're no longer going to be sitting next to each other.
I know. I wonder if it's going to change our personality dynamic. We're going to have to video chat probably. I have to be able to look at your gorgeous face.
Yes, we will set up like a Discord call.
Yeah.
Or a Skype call. Probably Discord because Skype is terrible.
Yeah.
So we'll set up a Discord call where we'll make sure that we can actually see each other. We can talk to each other. It'll be nice. I can actually face forward in my desk
instead of like facing me to the side.
On my side, like my back always kind of hurts after our cast because I'm like off angled in my chair.
We are athletes.
We are exactly. So we'll do that. I think what that means is you will record yourself. Yep. I will record myself. And
we combine them.
Somehow we're gonna have to combine them.
I have a little bit. We'll talk off camera about this. I have a little bit of experience in in remote casting.
Good, because I was gonna say my editing. We talked about this last cast. I don't edit, so it's gonna be like a pace job.
I think
we'll figure it out.
It is important that we evolve. We may have to evolve editing. Yes. I think as we have done a wonderful job. 61 episodes.
Yeah, holy cow!
Excuse me. Of
2 years, 3 years? Has it been 3 years?
I think 2016 we started.
Oh my God.
I don't know for sure.
It's insane.
We've been going 61 episodes is a lot of Wheneverly. And so I think 61 unedited episodes is probably enough for people. It's time to put a little polish on our turd if we're going to keep putting it out in the world. Getting back to our roots.
Yes.
My birthday is coming up.
Ooh.
And the one thing that I want on my birthday, which is already ordered.
Uh-oh.
Is the new Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin.
Dun,
the
dun,
new
dun.
like fake history
We're
of
going
Westeros
back
book.
to Westeros.
Oh man, I'm so excited for this book. I've got the whole day just planned where I'm just gonna like
read the
sit.
whole thing?
Yeah, I'm gonna have my little like hot tea,
You're not
and I'm just gonna like.
You're gonna actually.
Oh
read
no,
the book?
I'm reading and I'm underlining, and I'm gonna have marginalia. And you know what I'm most excited about in this new book? So it's all the history of the like Targaryen
You're most
dynasty.
excited about Maester Barth.
Septim Barth is my dude! I can't wait. The Hand of the King, King Jaehaerys, and good Queen Alysanne. Like, give me Septim Barth. I want to talk about his books that he wrote and what he knew about dragons and how he invented plumbing. Like, I am into this guy. He's our... What was the geneticist? Mendel? Is it
Mendel?
Mendel?
Yeah.
Where he's like modeled off Mendel, like I'm here for that.
Yes.
But also all of the ephemera of Westeros I love.
Yeah. So we'll be going back to Westeros.
Hopefully we can go back to Westeros.
Yeah, and stay there for a little while,
yeah?
hopefully. You know?
I'm so excited. So that's what I would like to podcast about next.
Yes.
But we should also maybe get into a new series or something.
Ooh. Do you have a suggestion to spin off into?
You
Is there
had...
something?
A couple of episodes ago, you had mentioned The Expanse.
Oh, yes.
Is that podcast? I've never seen it, but I hear good things.
It's good. It's a good show.
Do you think it's podcast worthy?
I mean, we can give it a shot, right?
I don't know. Well, that's an idea. I might watch an episode or two and see if it's like something I could talk about.
I mean, in general, we got to pick something to do. So we'll talk offline, but we're going to talk about Westeros next time.
My God, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And congratulations on your new house. I'm glad to be back casting with you, my friend.
Thank you. Do you have any other announcements of
yes,
your own?
I do. So the new comic book project I'm working on is at Dark Horse. I am working with an African futurist named Nnedi Okorafor. She and I did some Black Panther stuff at Marvel together. We got to create our own Black Panther character, which never gets to happen. That character's name is Uzaru, and you can find her story in the Long Live the King trade. But Nnedi and I are now together working with superstar editor Karen Berger over at Berger Books on a series called LaGuardia, like the airport.
Yep.
There's a running joke that it's always under construction.
Yeah.
But it's about literal alien immigration. And our protagonist is a doctor named Future who smuggles an alien plant into the United States. And it's wonderful, I think, and beautiful. And the first issue, it's a 4-issue mini. The first issue hits shelves on December 5th.
Wow.
Very soon. Right around the corner. So scary. So it makes great Christmas stocking stuffers. Order it from your local comic book shop.
So this is something you've been working on for a while,
yes.
but have been sold to secrecy.
Yes, I have been. Yes, and now that it is coming out, that it's coming out, I'm allowed to talk more about it.
That's awesome.
To sort of spread the love. So that's my latest project that's coming out. Go pick it up. I'd love to hear what you think about it. Follow me on @Tana Ford across all media, pretty much, or Tana Ford Designs.
Yeah, very cool. And
what about you?
You're going to be at Comic-Con?
Yes, I've got a couple.
Emerald City.
Yep, I'll be out in Seattle if you're on the West Coast. I'm at Emerald City Comic-Con this year, which is in March. And then the following weekend, it's hard to do back-to-back conventions, my dude. But the following weekend, I'll be in Chicago at C2E2, which is the last weekend of March.
Okay.
So this spring.
Make sure you, if you mention this podcast, I'm plugging this, by the way. If you mention this podcast, Tana will probably give you something. I sure as heck will.
Yeah. I'll draw you something. I'll sign something. Like you mention this podcast. Nobody has ever mentioned our podcast. No one's ever mentioned the podcast. No, and I've had weird interactions with people where they were like, we listen to the same podcasts or we know the same sort of podcasters.
But never about your podcast.
Never. Right? And then I get a lot of people that will listen to it after I tell them about it.
Oh, do you have a little flyer that you lay out and you're just like, yeah, you can see me
on this podcast? It's on my business card.
Is it really?
Yes.
It says podcaster and it says Westeros Wheneverly or something?
Yes, I need to update it so that it's like my Wheneverly podcast.
Wheneverly podcast. Yeah. Cool.
Oh, so come find me at comic book shows. I'll be doing other shows this year as well, but these are the two that have been announced. Emerald City in Seattle and Chicago.
Awesome.
Yeah,
go check out Tana. Yeah, absolutely.
Should be a lot of fun. Read comics. Comics make great stocking stuffers. If you want comic book recommendations, especially things in the queer variety or, I don't know, Marvel variety as well. Those tend to be my two main focuses.
The Spider-Verse and the queer verse.
Yep, exactly.
Very cool.
My friend.
I think that's it for our Westworld spin-off for now.
Yeah.
At least for a direct run. I'm sure once Westworld comes back, we'll be talking about it. But I guess we have to unspin ourselves a little bit.
I think we just spin off in a new direction.
Spin off.
Maybe we spin off in our original direction.
How do you spin off into original direction? That's something we're going to have to figure out, and we'll figure out later. But thanks for listening, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Nerds and neckbeards. This has been an excellent series.
So fun.
Absolutely amazing.
Wonderful talking to you about it, my friend.
Westworld, wheneverly.
Wheneverly.
This drink looks like nothing.